fight Labor's war on freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is an essential human right and a fundamental principle of Australian democracy. Labor's communications legislation amendment Combating Misinformation and Disinformation Bill 2023 is a direct attack on freedom of speech. This legislation targets everyday Australians, independent media and non-government political parties, while carving out protections for government, mainstream Big Brother media and approved organisations. It would give the Australian Communications and Media Authority, ACMA, draconian powers to silence critics of the government and impose fines up to $6.8 million on social media platforms if, in ACMA's opinion, they have not done enough to prevent the dissemination of what ACMA considers to be misinformation or disinformation. The big problem with this bill is its highly subjective definition of what constitutes misinformation. Basically, misinformation will mean whatever the government wants it to mean. This could easily include legitimate criticisms of the government, questions about the so-called science underpinning climate change ideology, questions about high immigration, questions about gender dysphoria, and statements for the No campaign against the Voice to Parliament. Don't believe for a second the senior Liberal Nationals coalition figures opposing Labor's bill, because when they were in government, the coalition proposed very similar legislation just before the last election. The major party's hidden agenda is the protection of their two-party system. They've watched votes leak to minor parties and independents over the years, and they're desperate to close down our communication efforts. If this bill is passed, you could even be saying goodbye to the Please Explain cartoon series. We must take a stand for freedom of speech. We must fight for it. As Thomas Jefferson said, the tree of liberty must be watered from time to time. Freedom requires constant vigilance. Making sure that hard-won individual freedoms endure in our society requires constant vigilance. You can help defend freedom of speech in Australia by putting your name to One Nation's petition against Labor's anti-free speech censorship bill. We urge you to sign our petition and make this the biggest in Australia's history. This issue is that serious. Yet it goes well beyond that. We're gathering One Nation members of Parliament and esteemed independent speakers from around Australia for a conference in Brisbane on August 26th. More details are to come. We're energised and ready to take this to the Liberal-Labor Uni-Party. Let's help Pauline Hanson's One Nation protect the most important of individual human rights.